Danny Pedrosa here in Jerez.
So we arrive at Le Mans.
The French Grand Prix is underway.
Last year was carnage.
It's over for Iannone.
It was double trouble.
Marquez is down, they're both down. Dovizioso and Marquez have crashed in tandem.
A star was born with his first ever podium.
Maverick Vinales, huge wheelie over the line.
A year on and Maverick Vinales sits second in the championship. 2 points behind the leader Rossi, 2 in front of the third place Marquez.
Stand by for MotoGP here in Le Mans.
The fight is on. The European circuit continues. A pretty nice afternoon at Le Mans in France. Currently 20 degrees, expecting a top of 22. A few clouds around, but none of the rain that has been on throughout the weekend. Hello and welcome to round 5 of the MotoGP season. As always, Daryl Beattie's done his hair and he's beside me. Hello, Daz.
Good evening, Howie.
Good evening to you. We like to have a bit of a laugh and a joke on this and keep it pretty light-hearted, but some really serious news came through during the week about a really loved figure in MotoGP. Nicky Hayden was on his bicycle on a training run in Italy. He was knocked off by a car. The 2006 world champion was listed as extremely critical, currently in intensive care. A really sad story.
Yeah, Howie, and straight up I'm going to say I know more more news than what everyone has been able to read, even though some of I would imagine some of the publications have been incorrect. But I think it's just fingers crossed at this stage for Nicky. It's sad to see that he's in this situation. His run in World Superbikes this year hasn't been the best of starts to seasons either, but fingers crossed we start to hear some news come out of there over the next few days.
And just the love pouring out of the MotoGP paddock just shows how much of a wonderful man Nicky is, so we wish him well and his entire family well. Talking about nasty incidents, well, Jack Miller, you're about to see some vision that happened in free practice 4, Daz. I still can't get my head around the fact he walked away from this incident.
Howie, this is probably one of the worst incidents I've seen in MotoGP in a long time. You can say straight up, there's Jack talking to Stefan Prine. Cal Crutchlow was behind this incident, stopped to check as well. But to have a front end lose like that, MotoGP this weekend and running around 290 into that fast turn, lose it, then it re-grip and save. You can see Jack giving that explanation there. And that's what's happening, hanging off the side. So, you know, as a gyro goes, you're going that way, his hand comes off the bars. He's just fortunate that all that unfolded, that he managed to glance that wall in the right way. But a very lucky young man to be alive. We
talk about Formula 1 and MotoGP, about the advances in safety and equipment and track safety. At the end of the day, that's just really lucky.
Well, and safety's... That circuit has changed a lot since I was there in the mid-90s, especially the outside wall. Alberto Puig had his bag leg incident from my memory then around that period. But I would imagine even if I went to that circuit as a safety commissioner and asked my advice, there's no way I would have been thinking sure enough for a car spinning inside that way, but a motorcycle to fire in that direction, not at all. But it goes to show you when an incident like that happens, anything can happen.
And the courage then to go back on the bike I find quite extraordinary. Let's get into qualifying. And after a tough last start for Yamaha, for the first time since back in 2008 in Qatar, the Yamahas have locked out the front row.
There's been a bit of testing, Howie, since the last round of the Grand Prix in Jerez, where Yamaha had a difficult weekend. On Monday, all the teams tested. Remember, some of the teams tested here at Le Mans before this Grand Prix. Weather conditions have been very difficult this weekend, wet or wet dry, a bit of both. And then up into qualifying, we finally had some dry track time. Jack Miller had a moment in front of Valentino Rossi there towards the end of qualifying. One of the biggest things, and the reason they tested here, was because of the new surface at Le Mans. Le Mans, from my memory and in the past, has been a low grip circuit, even though it's not difficult on tyres, been a stop-go circuit. But the new surface has certainly helped. And Zarco was, and Folger, both pretty impressive here at Le Mans. But Zarco at his home Grand Prix did a fantastic job. Managed to do a consecutive good runs on the softer rear tyre, Howie. And a few of the riders this morning retesting that different compound tyre compared to what they'd run through practice. Marquez had a fall in free practice 4, but then again, this one in qualifying. both slow turns, a lot of front end falls throughout the weekend. And again, we'll talk a little bit later about Jack Miller's comments to Lorenzo, which evolve around the front tyre situation at the moment and some of the things changing heading to Mugello. Ducati tested at Mugello as well before this weekend. As I said, a bit of testing going on. And KTM having a great weekend here at Le Mans. Both bikes inside the top end. And you'd have to say with their first year or first full season in MotoGP, it's a pretty good effort so far.
Yeah, my word. Big story also coming out of qualifying was those that didn't qualify well. Danny Pedrosa, winner at the last start in 13th. Jorge Lorenzo has won the last 2 starts here. He's qualified down in 16th position. Viñales with his second pole of the season in front of a consistent Valentino Rossi. He's come second here the last couple of years in a row. Zarco, a standout as far as the rookies go. So a really nice qualifying session. Plenty to look forward to. The weather looks pretty clear at the moment. Just going through the final preparations before the MotoGP bikes come out on the circuit. The weather looks good. Everything should be set, Daz. I think we're heading towards a very, very nice race. You mentioned some comments made by Jack Miller. We need to address those because he took on, of all people, Jorge Lorenzo, and it's caused a few issues. That's next. Round 5, Le Mans MotoGP.
Australians want more.